The impossible translation commander Thessa Kreen stood before the observation window of Research Station Omega-3, her crystalline fingers pressed against the transparent aluminum as she gazed at the artifact chamber below. For 23 standard years, those metal plates had been her obsession, her purpose, and increasingly her torment. The Aetheron species was renowned across 7 galaxies for their linguistic prowess. Their minds could process 17 layers of meaning simultaneously, detect patterns in chaos, and reconstruct dead languages from fragments most species would consider worthless. Yet these plates defied everything Thessa knew about language, communication, and meaning itself. The artifacts had been discovered on Meridian 7, an abandoned colony world on the edge of the Sagittarius Arm. A routine geological survey had uncovered them, buried beneath what appeared to be the ruins of an ancient settlement. The plates themselves were unremarkable in composition, a titanium alloy mixed with trace elements common throughout the galaxy. But the symbols etched into their surfaces were unlike anything in the Confederation's vast linguistic database. Sharp angles intersected with flowing curves. Repeating patterns suggested grammar, but no structure emerged. Circular designs might have been numbers, letters, or purely decorative elements. Nobody could say for certain. The Confederation Council had immediately classified the discovery as Priority Alpha. Preliminary dating suggested the plates were at least 15,000 years old, predating most known spacefaring civilizations in this sector. The prevailing theory was that they belonged to the progenitors, the mythical first civilization that some scholars believed had seeded life across the galaxy. If these plates could be translated, they might answer questions that had haunted sapient species since they first looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone. Thessa had assembled the finest team imaginable. The Kelvari brought their quantum consciousness, capable of examining problems from infinite perspectives simultaneously. The Droxians contributed their historical memory banks, containing linguistic data from 10,000 civilizations spanning 2 million years. The synthetic collective offered processing power that could analyze billions of potential translation matrices per second. For 2 decades they had worked without pause, and for 2 decades the plates had remained silent. The academic community had grown restless. Conferences were held. Papers were published proposing increasingly exotic theories. Some suggested the symbols were not language at all but mathematical proofs. Others argued they were artistic expression without literal meaning. A fringe group claimed they were a test left by an advanced civilization, deliberately designed to be unsolvable. Thessa had explored every possibility, followed every lead, and applied every known methodology for linguistic decryption. Nothing worked. The symbols remained as mysterious as the day they were discovered. Her reputation had suffered. Once celebrated as the linguist who had decoded the whisper songs of Andromeda, she was now known as the scholar who had wasted 20 years chasing shadows. Younger researchers whispered that she had become obsessed, that she should step aside and let fresh minds attempt the challenge. But Thessa could not let go. These plates meant something. She could feel it in her crystalline bones. Somewhere in those symbols was a message waiting to be heard. The door to the observation deck slid open with a soft hiss. Thessa turned to see her assistant, a young Kelvari named Prism, approaching with their usual nervous energy. "Commander Kreen, the new consultant has arrived. Dr. Maya Chen from Earth. She is waiting in the briefing room." Thessa felt her internal light dim slightly with disappointment. Another consultant. Another expert who would spend weeks examining the plates before admitting defeat. The humans were particularly persistent about this, constantly volunteering their linguists despite having barely 3 centuries of experience with alien languages. Their enthusiasm was admirable but ultimately futile. What could a human possibly contribute that the Kelvari quantum consciousness or the Droxian memory banks had not already considered? Still, protocol demanded courtesy. Thessa made her way to the briefing room, preparing the standard presentation she had given countless times before. She would show Dr. Chen the plates, explain the failed methodologies, and gently suggest that perhaps human linguistics was not yet sophisticated enough for this particular challenge. It was a conversation she had perfected over the years, polite but firm. Dr. Maya Chen was younger than Thessa expected, with dark hair pulled into a messy configuration that humans called a bun. She wore the standard Confederation research uniform, but had somehow made it look disheveled within hours of arrival. Her eyes had an unsettling directness that Thessa found both refreshing and mildly uncomfortable. Humans had a tendency to maintain eye contact longer than most species found polite. Dr. Chen, welcome to Research Station Omega-3. I am Commander Thessa Kreen. I will be providing you with an overview of our work on the Meridian 7 artifacts. Thessa gestured toward the holographic display, which shimmered to life, showing three-dimensional projections of the metal plates. Maya leaned forward, her expression intensely focused. These are the originals? Can I see them in person? Of course, though I should warn you, every major linguistic framework in the Confederation has been applied to these symbols. The Quantum Institute has suggested they may represent a form of communication beyond our current understanding of language. Right, Maya said absently, already moving toward the exit. Let's go see them. 15 minutes later, they stood in the artifact chamber, separated from the plates by only a thin energy barrier. Maya had been silent during the entire journey, her eyes fixed on the symbols with an expression Thessa could not quite read. Now, standing before the actual artifacts, Maya's face underwent a remarkable transformation. Her eyes widened. Her mouth opened. And then, impossibly, she began to laugh. It started as a small chuckle but quickly grew into full, genuine laughter that echoed through the sterile chamber. Thessa felt her crystalline structure vibrate with confusion and rising anger. Dr. Chen, I fail to see what is amusing about— Oh my God, Maya gasped between laughs, wiping tears from her eyes. Oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. This isn't a dead language. This isn't even a good language. It's just really, really bad Latin mixed with abbreviations and text speak. This is literally someone's shopping list and study notes. The universe seemed to stop.